Today we will examine Epictetus the Stoic. Epictetus the Stoic offers us the Enchiridion, which is a manual for life. Stoic philosophy is often associated with emotional detachment. There's an upside to Stoicism, but there's probably a downside to training with the Stoics as well. So today we want to at least start engaging this very brief work that he's given us. The Enchiridion has the virtue of being short, right? So you can read it in less than an hour. But one of the important things to ask when you study any philosophy or philosopher is, what can this philosopher or philosophy teach us about living today? One of the things I want to suggest is Epictetus provides enduring advice for people who are concerned with peace or serenity. Sometimes it's called ataraxia in the ancient world. And so Epictetus says, look, you can train in a way where nothing will ever upset you. Peace is a very high reward for this type of training. And so what we want to do is see what the upsides and downsides of Stoicism are. But as you read the Enchiridion, I'd like you to focus on sections 1, 3, 5, 8, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, and 28. Just read the whole thing, right? But those are sections that I think are worth examining. In the Enchiridion, he winds up claiming that, remember, you are in a drama and someone else has written the script of the world, right? So you're playing your role. He says that you don't have any choice over your role. So what this is, his metaphor to describe the world as a drama. Is the world a drama? Is it a tragedy? Or is it a comedy? These are interesting metaphors that are worth pursuing further. But he says, look, you can't change fate. You can't change the world, but you can change your impressions, judgments, and attitudes about the world. So Epictetus says, look, when people become upset, it's not events that cause them. It's not the world that makes them upset. It's their judgments and impressions about the world that makes them upset. So if he's right about this, it's within our power to achieve peace. The first section of the Enchiridion states, remember what is within your control and outside of your control. So oddly, he says, body, office, reputation, and estate are outside of your control, where judgments, attitudes, impressions, will, that's something that is always absolutely within your control. And his idea is, it's not the world that makes us upset, but it's our judgments about the world if and when we do become upset about something. And so at one point he says, look, you have to align yourself with fate and recognize the nature of the things that you love and the things which you're attached to. So one of the things that Stoicism might be useful for is coping with loss. In some ways, it resembles Buddhism, I think, in the sense that it tries to consider the nature of our attachments. He says in one of the sections of the Enchiridion, if you wish your family and friends to live forever, you're a fool, right? Because you're wishing for something to be within your control, which is outside of your control. And so what he's asking people to do is recognize the nature of things. Early Stoics were influenced by Heraclitus as well, the Riddler of antiquity. That was Heraclitus's nickname, right? But he's the fluxist, right? Says everything in the physical world is fated to be engulfed in the river of flux. So some of those things are the things that we are attached to and we love, right? So we're all fated to lose all the good stuff, right? So he's trying to communicate a sense of, how do I achieve peace in a world where so much of it is beyond my control? And one thing he must have right, though, is this, the psychological truth that if you get bent out of shape or upset about something that's outside of your control, it's squandered psychological energy. So focus on what is within your control and what's outside of your control. So there's a similar theme here to Epicurus's observation in the letter to Menocius, where he says, some things are within our control, and to those things we naturally attach praise and blame. Epicurus says that, not to be confused with Epictetus, the Stoic. But this idea of what is actually within our control is kind of important, because if you focus on that, you can guarantee that you never lose, right? If you have some things that are absolutely within your control. So one of the things we might ask is Epictetus right? So for example, the coronavirus, can I stop it? Well, in a way, it's totally outside of my control, but I can do a little bit, right? I can do things to safeguard my body, right? In terms of washing hands and trying to maintain health. So one of the difficulties for Epictetus is to talk about things or engage things which aren't completely outside of our control. If you look at the Serenity Prayer, you can Google it. I think Reinhold Niebuhr might have come up with it first, but the Serenity Prayer is similar to Epictetus's advice in that he winds up saying, look, there are some things that are within our control, and we should focus on that. Things outside of our control, we got to let go if we want to achieve psychological peace. Okay, so one other thing before I cut out of here today. He winds up saying that you'd never turn your body over to a bad person and let them do whatever they might want because you'd be vulnerable. But people do this with their minds all the time, right? So for example, there's some jerk in the world or some event that allows you to become extremely distressed, right? There's enough people in the world to make anyone angry when they do, I don't know, stupid things, or they insult you. And he says, so if someone insults you, are you really going to turn your mind over to that person? Or can you walk away psychologically so you don't care what they say and you don't let others disturb you? So one of the upsides of Stoic philosophy is it might be able to protect us from being upset. But at the end of the day, if I'm upset, that's my fault, right? It's not the world that upsets me, according to Epictetus. It's me, because I'm the one who's in charge of determining whether I get upset or not. Okay, I hope everyone is staying healthy, and hope to see you soon. If you have any questions about Epictetus or Stoicism, hit me up with an email.